Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Elia Fazarwinanti from PBI 5C, and in this video I will share about tenses. The first is definition of tenses. Tenses are verbs from in English to show the time, present, future, or past, the occurrence of an action or event. In Indonesia, there are 16 kinds of English tenses. Tenses adalah bentuk kata kerja dalam bahasa Inggris untuk menunjukkan sekarang, masa depan, atau masa lalu. Terjadinya suatu perbuatan atau peristiwa. Di Indonesia dikenal 16 macam tenses bahasa Inggris. The first is present simple verb tense. When you use the present simple, you are using a routine. It's something that you always do every day, month, or year, or it's something that you never do. Present verb tense. Example: I, you, we, they travel every day, and he, she, it travels every day. The next, present continuous or progressive verb tense. When you use present continuous, you are referring to what is happening right now. Also, it can be an action that is not yet complete. Present continuous or progressive examples. I am traveling right now. You, we, they are traveling right now, and he, she, it is traveling right now. The next, present perfect verb tense. Although it's easy to confuse this verb tense with present simple, the main difference is that the action is complete for present perfect. In other words, you are looking at. The next is present perfect tense. Also, it's easy to confuse this verb tense with present simple. The main difference is that the action is complete for present perfect. In other words, you are looking at the result right now without any word referring to time. Present perfect example: I, you, we, they have traveled to France, and he, she, it has traveled to France. The next, present perfect continuous or progressive verb tense. In this verb tense, an action starts in the past, but it still continues now. You have been performing the action and still are performing the action in the present. Present perfect continuous or progressive example: I, you, we, they have been traveling for a day, and he, she, it has been traveling for a day. The next, past simple verb tense. For past simple, it includes a finished action and time. Past simple example is: I, you, we, they, he, she, it traveled to France yesterday. The next, past continuous or progressive verb tense. When you use past continuous, you are often using two actions. However, one action is not finished in the past and another is complete, interrupting the other action. Example: I, he, she, it was traveling by bus when the deer crossed the road. You, we, they were traveling when the deer crossed the road. Next, past perfect verb tense. This verb tense used two action at two different times. Before the second action occurs, the first action is complete. Past perfect examples: I, you, we, they, he, she, it had traveled by car when the bus arrived. The next is past perfect continuous or progressive verb tense. For colloquial English, we don't use past perfect continuous very often, but in textbooks, it's a bit more common. This very tense has a complete action that happened before a second action, but in this case, you can describe how long. Past perfect continuous or progressive examples. I, you, we, they, he, she, it had been traveling for 1 hour when the car broke down. The next, future simple verb tense. This verb tense is about planning things to do in the future. For example, what will you do tomorrow or next week? Instead of using will, you can use going to for future tense, but this lesson use will for the future tense. Future simple examples: I, you, we, they, he, she, it will travel to France tomorrow. The next, future continuous or progressive verb tense. The action is not complete when another action happens in the future. This is similar to past continuous, but it refers to the future. Future continuous example: I, you, we, they, he, she, it will be traveling when you arrive. The next, future perfect verb tense. An action will be completed in the future before another is completed. Future perfect example is I, you, we, they, he, she, it will have traveled to France by the time you arrive. The next, future perfect continuous. An action will be continuing in the future when it is interrupted by another action. This future verb tense often includes an indication of how long the action has been happening. For example, I, you, we, they, he, she, it will have been traveling for 1 hour when you arrive. The next, past future tense, states a plan of activities that will be carried out in the past. Example, I would watch television last night. The next, past future continuous tense, expressing plans for activities that have taken place in the past. For example, he would be sleeping when I arrived last night. Next, past future perfect tense, expressing planned activities that should have occurred before other activities occur in the past. Example, I would have already eaten when they arrived yesterday morning. And the last, past future perfect continuous tense, indicates an ongoing activity that lasts before another activity occurred in the past. Example, he would have been sleeping for 2 hours when I arrived last night. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.